Next, it's game day at Company One Theater, which is staging the football extravaganza Colossal, played in 4 quarters, including an entertainment-filled halftime. It's a play about love of the game, a love for one another, and the bonds between fathers and sons. Here's a look.
You see? You can see what Mike did wrong. Do not let them under that armor, gentlemen. You let them underneath, you will get hurt. That felt good, didn't it, Marcus?
Yes, sir!
You hit someone the right way, it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Colossal is a story about these two men in football culture trying to find their way to each other, but at the same time having all of these other pressures in life. As a director, how do you see this story, especially of today?
Okay, so I think that's one very significant layer of it, but another layer is the character Mike is played by 2 actors. Alex plays young Mike, and then we have Marlon Shepard who plays Mike. There's a significant injury that happens in the course of a game, and so there's something about that significant injury, the interaction with Marcus, who is Mike's love interest, and how all of that kind of swirls around and causes Mike to have to confront his past in a very significant way. I love the fact that the play isn't necessarily about singularly the accident, singularly what might happen if these 2 men are in love in the locker room within the football world, right? It's really about who they are as people and how they kind of can walk through life making the choices that they want to make, and being concerned about making some of those choices that they have to make.
Mike, come on. They say I'm going 5th round at best. Who the fuck's gonna draft me?
Look, don't worry about that. Anyway, that shit's changing.
Change it ain't changed, Mike. This is my life.
How is football a good frame for all of this character study?
The stakes are high, so it drives people to be their most honest or their most afraid, or really they're kind of pushing the limits. And football is humanity in so many ways, and just like it's a subculture of our country, and that provides like a good platform to tell a story on.
These are titans, right? There are like marchers going out to war. They're like our guys who are out there playing hard, and they're the villains that we create and the heroes that we create, and that can change. It's the theater that happens in the world most consistently, even though we don't call it theater.
There's a strength you have not tapped.
I'm not finished.
Fight for it.
I'm not finished.
Every inch.
I'm not finished.
Fight for every inch of your life.
Well, Alex, how is it to be back in the game, as it were? I mean, I can imagine, because I have not seen this piece yet, but I can imagine it is because we see it as a football game with the 4 quarters, with the halftime, that is very much about movement and how you interact and literally intersect.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we do at a rehearsal is the fight call, where we put on the pads, put on the helmets, and we practice the hitting that we do, which is pretty much live tackling. So there's this amount of like remembering the dread of that, and then also right when it's done, I'm like, all right, yeah, like, oh my God, that was great. Why am I not playing football still? So there's that like serious like physical reaction that I get to putting the pads back on.
Is there something to how men relate in football, because it is so intimate, because you are grabbing hold of each other, because there is that intimacy of those locker room moments and the moments in the field when there are huddles? You don't see that. You don't see men really like that anywhere else that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it's intimacy in a sense where you aren't really focused on the intimacy. You have a job to do, and your focus is so many other places that there isn't really a chance to be like, oh, I'm being super intimate with this person next to me, like physically intimate, and or like even like open and connecting with somebody, because your job is to do other things, and it's a weird way to find this extreme connection with somebody and not realize that you're doing it.
Summer, do you know football?
Yeah, enough.
I was going to say, do you have to know football in order to direct football?
No, I don't think you have to. You have to know something about it, but you have to create the right team, right? Alex is a football player, right? He knows the spirit and the heart of the thing. We have a football expert who's on our kind of coaching staff that come in to the process. The other actors are football players and athletes in some way, shape, or form. So we've really assembled a crew that really understands the heart of the thing. But so much of the heart of the thing and the intimacy and the playing and the guys and the connection, it all happens without words. It all happens without language. And I think a big part of the messaging around the play, messaging is too heavy of a word, one of the sentiments of the play is that it's really about how men are able to connect and intersect, whether they're doing it physically, verbally, through touch, through talk. How
do you direct without dialogue? How do you direct glances or emotions?
So he laughs at me all the time because I'm like, okay, this is a 45-second moment. And he's like, what? Like, that's forever. But I do think there's a real value, and you know it when you feel it in the room, right? You can't predict it, but when I see him and Anthony Goss, who plays Marcus, when they have those moments and they're really connecting with each other without words, like I could stay in that forever. Like that, the rest of it doesn't matter, you know?
So in just about the minute that we have left, tell me about this halftime. There's a drum line?
There's a drum line, and it's not a crazy drum line because no one will be able to hear in the Roberts. And it's going to feel like a big, fun drumline show. We're also working to get local drumming groups engaged so that nightly there'll be a part of the performance that's different every night. And then we have our bass drum line, and then there's this awesome dance show that happens in the middle of it, which is a part of young Mike's past. So it's crazy. It's all crazy.
Okay, but the audience doesn't have to dance.
You will.
Have I shared with you how I feel about audience participation? Let me just make it clear now. I think you can see in my look.
That you love it.
All right, Alex Molina, Summer L. Williams, thank you so much for joining us. Colossal plays at the Calderwood Pavilion through August 15th. Thank you.
Thank you.